The Codependent's Curse. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Those of you familiar with my work understand that when it comes to an analysis of human beings for the purposes of understanding their behaviors in relation to narcissism, I categorize people as narcissists, narcissistic people who are not narcissists, normals, and empaths. Those groups have similarities. They also have many differences. I regularly explain to people that certain behaviors can be engaged in by anybody from each of those groups, but there is a different driver behind the behavior dependent upon which group they belong to. With regard to the empath group, which is the preferred group for my kind, the narcissist, or more accurately for me, a narcissistic psychopath, this empath group is further divided into schools: standard, contagion, super, and codependent, along with 5 cadres. Each of the schools have some similarities and then also differences. One of the schools is that of codependent. Codependency can in effect have an impact upon an empathic individual in 2 ways. The first is where they are a majority codependent. If you have taken the empath detector and you have been determined by a consequence of your answers to be an empath, you will then receive information about the school and cadre that you are. Some people belong to a majority school. Therefore, there is one school that is greater than the rest, and then there will be some minority elements. Maybe one minority element, commonly 2, sometimes even 3. It's a similar situation with the cadre. Somebody who is found to be a majority codependent is somebody who is led by their codependent empathy in all of their interactions in their day-to-day lives. Like some invisible force, it crafts their responses, provides an instinctive reaction to certain situations, frames their thinking. It doesn't necessarily apply all of the time, because there is no such thing as 100% majority for the school. There'll be instances where the other schools get a look in. But in terms of the governance of that individual on a day-to-day basis, that governance is framed by their codependency. The second aspect is where the individual has a codependent minority. That minority might be insignificant, significant, strong, or very strong. And essentially how that works, it means that there are certain trigger events that occur. The stronger the level of codependency, the more trigger events there are, which, if and when triggered, cause the individual to shift from their majority behaviour or governing behaviour and behave as a codependent. Where an individual has that minority codependent behaviour, theoretically, they may never exhibit codependency unless and until that minority codependent trigger occurs. So let us say, for example, that for a particular person, a trigger is the use of one of their vulnerabilities against them. And let us say, for example, they have a fear of the dark. If that fear of the dark is never ever used against them, they will never act as a codependent. If somebody utilizes their fear of the dark against them, it will shift them into behaving as a codependent. The way that a codependent behaves, whether as a majority codependent or whether it has been triggered, where it is a minority codependent aspect, is one of giving. But this is just not applicable to the dynamic that the codependent has with the narcissist. It applies to other people in life. This is why codependents are found to be people pleasers. because they get definition by the giving of their own behaviours towards others. Now, all empaths give of themselves, but with the codependent, it is even greater. They find validation and definition as to who they are through the act of giving of themselves. That doesn't necessarily mean giving a present or giving money, but giving time, giving affection, giving love, giving compassion, whatever it might be. That enables the codependent to gain a sense of worth, to gain a sense of identity. And of course, the narcissist is the most effective individual for the codependent, because the narcissist is a black hole that can never be filled. The narcissist will take and take and take, enabling that codependent to give and give and give, demonstrating a slavish devotion to the narcissist. The curse of the codependent is such that one of the things that a codependent often occurs with is the necessity of being with others. With a minority codependent, this is less likely to manifest. But with a majority codependent, the narcissist is an attractive prospect for that codependent empath victim. Even where the individual is being abused, their codependency causes them to prefer to stay, to feel that they can serve some useful purpose towards the narcissist, that they cannot help themselves, that they just need that help, that understanding, that compassion. It also means that the codependent will want to be in a relationship, even where there is no narcissist. Naturally, the nature of their empathic addiction is such that they're more likely to be drawn to a narcissist, but for the codependent of all the schools, they are the ones that are more likely to want to seek out and stay in some form of romantic relationship. This does not always mean that it will be with a narcissist. It could be with a non-narcissist. The codependent, in effect, feels safe when ensconced in a relationship where they can give of themselves. They can, of course, give to non-narcissists. And where they're involved in a relationship with a non-narcissist, there is nothing wrong whatsoever in them wanting to have a relationship with that person and always be in a relationship with that individual. The reason is that whilst they give of themselves, the non-narcissist that they are in the relationship with is not going to abuse them. There can, of course, be instances where they might take slight advantage of the giving nature of the codependent empath, but they're not going to abuse them because the non-narcissists are not habitual abusers. Accordingly, it is the curse of the codependent that they can enter into a relationship with someone who is a non-narcissist, give of themselves, and it be a healthy relationship for them. No relationship is truly equal. Even healthy relationships have one partner who perhaps gives more than the other, and they understand that, and they accept that. They do not mind, in effect, that they are more giving than the other person. They enjoy giving. And where it is a codependent that engages in such behaviour, they prefer to find themselves in a relationship so that they continue to give. For the codependent, it is necessary for them to ensure that that nature of giving is directed towards a non-narcissist, because it is all too easy for them, as a consequence of their addiction and emotional thinking, and, of course, that addiction taking advantage of their giving nature to drive them into a relationship with a narcissist, because the narcissist is the one who will take more and more and more. Thus, in effect, scratching the itch that the codependent has, that itch to give, to avail their generosity towards another person. But as you know, by becoming ensconced in a relationship with a narcissist, all that then happens is that the codependent is abused. Their emotional thinking climbs higher. They remain trapped within the relationship, unable to remove themselves because they feel that the relationship gives them definition. They feel guilty to move outside of the relationship because their emotional thinking causes that to happen. They will experience similar sensations in a relationship with a non-narcissist, for this is the curse of the codependent. However, it is not as problematic for them in that instance, because as I have explained earlier, the non-narcissist is not going to abuse them, is not going to cause problems for them in the way that a narcissist does. It is therefore important for codependents, especially those that are a majority, to recognise that they prefer to be in a relationship because of their codependency, and there is nothing wrong with that so long as that relationship is with a non-narcissist. This means it's all the more important to ensure that the codependent empath, once they realise that that is what they are, ensures that they reduce their emotional thinking so that they can spot narcissists coming and evade them, thus increasing their chances of ending up in a relationship with a healthy person. And it is there that they can give in a way which is healthy for them and also